Life is suffering. That's where we begin. Not because it's pessimistic, but because it's true. From the first breath you take, existence weighs upon you with a gravity that doesn't ask your permission. You're thrown into chaos, and the only option you have, is to voluntarily confront that chaos, to organize it and to transform it into something meaningful. And you do that one day at a time, one discipline at a time. So today, I want to speak to you about 10 things, 10 non-negotiables that you must work on every day if you want to live with strength, integrity, and meaning. Etiole 1, tell the truth, or at least don't lie. Every time you speak something you don't believe, you hand over a piece of your soul. You might think you're keeping the peace, avoiding trouble, but really you're building a prison. Brick by brick, lie by lie. I used to do this in academia. In my relationships, I'd bend my words to avoid conflict. But all I did was create a world where I no longer recognized myself. Speak the truth, especially when it costs you. That's where courage begins to clean your room, metaphorically and literally order your immediate world. Not because it's cute or symbolic, but because it's real. Your room is you. It's your mind made visible. And if you can't bring order to something as small as your desk or your closet, what makes you think you can order your career, your relationships, your life? But to your life, your recipe, or laugh. I remember when my daughter was ill and the world felt like it was collapsing. I couldn't fix her, but I could organize the world around me that mattered. 3, aim carefully. You need a direction. You need to decide what the hell you're doing here. And you won't hit the mark unless you know where the mark is. Most people are drifting. No target, no plan, no aim. They're not failing because they aimed too high. They're failing because they never aimed at all. Make a plan, set a goal, and then refine your aim daily. 4, face what you fear, drag what terrifies you out from under the bed and stare it down. Fear doesn't diminish. When you avoid it, it grows. Every monster you refuse to face becomes a tyrant in your soul. You must, like the mythic hero, descend into the underworld, confront the dragon, and bring back something of value. That's how growth works. It's bloody and it's painful, but it's redemptive. 5, strengthen your body. You are a spirit, yes, but you are also a body, and weakness invites chaos. Train. Eat properly. Sleep. I trained as a boxer for a time. Der Boxer Helm a prayers. Not to compete, but to learn discipline. There's something transformative about pushing yourself physically. It organizes your mind. It gives you resilience. If you can't even carry your own weight, how can you carry the weight of the world? Delion 6. Read great books. Immerse yourself in the wisdom of those who came before you. Don't be arrogant enough to think you can figure it all out on your own. The Bible, Dostoevsky, Solzhenitsyn. Read until your soul is stirred and your ignorance is exposed. You will find in their words a mirror and a map. 7. Watch your words. Words are tools or weapons. You can shape the world with them or destroy it. Speak carefully. Speak with intention. When you speak sloppily, you think sloppily. When you speak clearly, you clarify not only your message, but your being. LA8. Choose your friends wisely. Surround yourself with people who want the best for you. Not those who tolerate your mediocrity, people who challenge you. Who say, "Bet you're better than this." When you start to slide, I've had friends who dragged me down into darkness, and I've had those who lifted me out. Choose wisely. Your life depends on it. 9, take responsibility, not just for your life, but for as much of the world as you can bear. Responsibility is not a burden. It's a path to meaning. When you pick up your cross, when you say, I will do what must be done, tend you become more than you are. I've seen men broken by nihilism, by the belief that nothing matters. And I've seen them reborn when they take up a burden and carry it with purpose. 10, act as if who you are matters. Because it does. You're not a mistake. You're not a statistic. You're a node in the web of being, and everything. You do ripples outward in ways you cannot possibly comprehend. So act like your choices matter, like your life counts, because the alternative is despair. And that's not a path. That's a spiral. So what do? You wake up tomorrow and you start again. You pick up these 10 things, not because they're easy, but because they're necessary. Because they make you strong enough to bear your suffering and maybe even help someone else bear theirs. That's the path. That's the path, not comfort, not ease, but meaning. 0 and meaning. Real meaning is found on the other side of responsibility, effort, discipline, and truth. So stand up straight. Shoulders back, eyes forward, the world needs you. So get to work. The world needs you. Get to work. There's a reason this is the first rule, because it's foundational. It's the bedrock. But because it's right, because every time you do, you fortify the bridge between who you are and who you could be. You invite chaos to order. You bring the logos, the word, into the world. And that is no small thing. It sounds like a trivial command, a kind of parental scolding, clean your room. But it's not. Not when properly understood, because it's not just about tidying up your socks or vacuuming the carpet. It's a call to confront chaos at the level closest to you. It's a declaration that the external world and your internal state are deeply, inextricably linked. When your environment is in disarray, it's a symptom and often a cause of psychological disintegration. And the act of putting it in order is the beginning of putting yourself in order. When I say ICA clean your room, I'm saying start with what you can fix. Start with what you can control. Your life may be falling apart. Maybe your relationships are broken. Maybe your career is stalled. Maybe you're overwhelmed by global suffering, injustice, and tragedy, and you don't know what to do. So you do nothing. You spiral. You freeze. But you can do something. You can walk into your room, look around, and ask, what can I fix right now? That small action, simple, humble, direct, breaks the paralysis. It asserts that there's still ground beneath your feet, that you still have agency, that your choices matter. And that's not trivial. That's transformative. I remember a student, intelligent, articulate, full of potential, but deeply lost. He came to my office, eyes dull, posture collapsed, drowning in existential dread. I don't know where to start, he said. Everything's pointless. Quo do bodu dote. I asked him one question. What does your room look like? He paused. Horror's core, it's a disaster. Quote. Then go clean it, I told him. Or Sancher Sabrats arrive, and don't come back until you do. He did. He came back weeks later. Not a new man, but a different one, more alert, more focused. A flicker of purpose in his eyes. It wasn't about the room. It was about reclaiming sovereignty one square foot at a time. Your room is a microcosm of your mind. When it's cluttered, you're telling yourself unconsciously that chaos reigns, that nothing matters enough to be put in its place. But when you impose structure, when you make your bed, organize your books, sweep the floor, you signal the opposite, that you are capable of imposing order, that you can make the world, your world, better. But it's not just physical. The metaphorical cleaning matters just as much. What emotional messes have you been avoiding? What apologies have you not made? What tasks have you delayed so long they now loom like monsters in your periphery? Clean that room too. Face those neglected corners of your life. They won't go away on their own. In fact, they'll grow. Chaos unaddressed becomes tyranny. But chaos confronted becomes potential. And there's something else. When you clean your room, people notice it becomes a sanctuary, not just for you, but for others. You become someone with a space that invites order, calm, and possibility. That matters more than you might think. You're modeling to the world. This is how you begin. You start here, cleverest. So don't underestimate the act. Don't dismiss it as mundane. That's the great trap of modern cynicism, believing that only grand, world-changing gestures matter. But that's false. The world is built on foundations, and those foundations begin in your own domain, in your space, in your habits, in the way you care or don't care for what is yours to manage. Clean your room. Not just to have a tidy space, but to declare war on the chaos that would otherwise consume you. Because that battle, the one between order and entropy, it starts at your doorstep. Doorstep. It starts in your drawer. It starts today. If you're not aiming at something, you're lost. It's as simple and as terrifying as that a life without aim is not a life at all. It's a slow descent into bitterness, resentment, and chaos. You cannot navigate without a direction. You need a target, and you need to pursue it with deliberate, focused intent. Because even if you miss, you'll learn something, you'll move. But if you never aim, if you drift, you become stagnant, and stagnation breeds suffering. Tundle strands breeds. I've seen this over and over, especially in young people. They've been told so many conflicting things. Follow your passion, do what you love, keep your options open. Quote. And while those slogans sound empowering, they're often paralyzing. Why? Because they offer no clear direction, no sacrifice, no commitment. So these individuals wander, they waste years figuring it out, dabbling, hesitating endlessly, preparing but never doing. And what happens? Anxiety, depression, despair, not because they're weak, but because they lack a North Star. No euphresami to be overcomatrian. And no, you must pick something, anything, and aim at it. And then once you're moving, you refine your target. That's the trick. You don't wait for perfect clarity before you begin. The idea that you need to have everything figured out. Not obsessively, not with rigidity, but with seriousness. Don't point yourself towards something petty or impulsive. Don't let your aim be hijacked by the shallow temptations of social media, status, or ego. Aim at something that demands your potential, something that justifies the suffering of life. That's no small thing to ask, but it's the only thing that will hold up under the weight of your own consciousness. Oh, think of it this way. If you have no aim, every distraction becomes a justification. Every temptation becomes a viable option. But if you have an aim, you can say, no, that pulls me away from my goal. Kokudot. It becomes your filter. It grants you discipline. So start by asking yourself, what am I aiming at? What am I aiming at? Write it down, speak it out loud, refine it, and then ask, is this worthy of my effort, of my time, of my life? Because that's what your aim ultimately determines, how you will spend your limited, precious, irretrievable days. Fear is the oldest, most primal signal your nervous system knows. It's not a mistake, not an evolutionary glitch. Fear is the voice of chaos whispering. There's something here you haven't yet mastered. Quote, it's the dragon guarding the gold. And if you avoid it, if you keep turning your head, shielding your eyes, pretending it doesn't exist, it doesn't go away. It grows, it festers in the darkness, and eventually it owns you. Everyone carries fear. It's not weakness, it's a signal. It tells you where you're not yet whole, where you're vulnerable, where you're ignorant. And if you want to live with strength, integrity, and genuine confidence, then you must face it. Not nonce. Once. Not heroically in a single moment, but again and again, daily like a ritual. I had a patient, bright, capable, highly functional on the surface, but he wouldn't answer emails, just couldn't do it. He'd open the inbox and feel his stomach twist, his heart rate spike, his mind cloud with dread. He didn't even know why. It was irrational but real. So he avoided it for months. The inbox grew into a monster. Missed opportunities, resentful colleagues, self-loathing. And finally, after enough suffering, he admitted it. He was afraid of responsibility, of committing to decisions, of being wrong. Oh, and the only way forward was to turn toward it, slowly, deliberately, 1 email a day, then 2, then 10. And the monster shrank, not because it disappeared, but because he grew. Aloe fear. Fear is not your enemy. It's your guide. It's the glowing edge of your map. Where fear lives, your potential begins. Carl Jung once said, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Quote. And that's not a poetic metaphor, it's a psychological law. The avoidance of fear is the avoidance of growth. And every time you shrink from it, you give up territory in your own soul. You see this in children. Watch a child approach the ocean for the first time. They inch forward, then run back, forward again. Back again. They're dancing with the unknown, feeling its power, testing their courage. And eventually, if the environment is supportive, they wade in, and in that moment, they grow. Not just physically, but existentially, their world gets bigger. They realize, I can stand here. I can do this. Oh, the same applies to you. Maybe you fear confrontation, so you let people walk over you. Oh. Maybe you fear failure, so you never start that project. Maybe you fear judgment, so you hide who you really are. But the longer you avoid the thing, the more it controls you. The more it dictates your choices. Until your life is no longer yours. It belongs to your fear. To face what you fear doesn't mean you act recklessly. It means you voluntarily approach it. So, it's, you look at it squarely and say, hey, I see thee. I see you and I'm coming closer anyway. It's a decision, an act of sovereignty, and it doesn't mean you're unafraid. It means you're willing to suffer for the sake of becoming more than you are. This is what heroes do in every myth worth telling. They don't slay the dragon because they're fearless. They slay the dragon because it must be done, because there's something behind it, something sacred, something worth the risk. Maybe it's freedom. Maybe it's purpose. Maybe it's love. Whatever it is, you won't get there without a fight. We must sigh for twitch, cat stomach kiveries. You shall, and every time you face the fear, every time